Don't let me go onto eBay in a couple days and all of a sudden you see Yordan Alvarez is back up to $60, $70. Don't overbuy. Welcome everyone to Dinging Corners, a baseball podcast powered by SlabStox. I'm your host Nate, and today we're going to be talking about off-season buying strategies. So it's Game 2 of the World Series last night. The Rays won. Dodgers won Game 1, so it's tied 1-1. There's only at least 5 games left in this baseball season, which means it's a good time to be selling your cards that you want to sell of Cody Bellinger or Randy Arozarena or any guys like that, and then start concentrating on off-season buying strategies. Now, we're going to go through some strategies that I like. They're not all, solid gold all the time. It's not going to automatically guarantee you money, but definitely some good strategies in here for you to follow. That being said, wait a couple months. Don't listen to this video. Go on eBay and buy right away. Wait until November. Well, it's almost November. Wait until the middle of November, maybe early December to start buying. It's too soon to the end of the season here right now. But if you wait a little bit, prices might even go a little bit lower. Now, for the guys we're going to be talking about, there's so many guys in the baseball minor leagues, major leagues, that it's hard to keep track of everyone. People get lost in the shuffle, and so there's a million different ways you can spend your money in baseball, and they're not all going to be great. So we're going to cover some avenues that you can spend your money, and I think you'll be pretty set for the off season. So number one is buying prospects. Many people have probably forgotten about the prospect card market because there was no minor leagues this year. So the only prospects you saw for the Bowman Chrome market were guys that were getting called up to the 40-man roster and eventually maybe playing. Think, Joey Bart, think Casey Mize there. So those guys would definitely be being bought on the Bowman Chrome market, but there's other guys to be had. Top 3 names that come to my mind every single time I think about the Bowman Chrome market. Obviously, Wander Franco. His prices really haven't changed in the last couple months, but he is truly amazing, the real deal. Just there's nothing that can be said about him that does him justice. He is amazing. If you can buy him, always a good opportunity, even though the prices haven't dropped. Once he gets back playing, people will remember how good he is, and those prices will go up. Julio Rodriguez is another guy that we love here at SlabStox, and most other people love too. He just made Baseball America's magazine cover for, I forget what the magazine was, but he was on the front. He got injured this year at the start of spring training, but he is absolutely incredible. Think like a Juan Soto type of guy. Maybe a little worse defensively, but still that type of bat. And his prices have actually risen. So PSA 10s on July 24th, that's as far back as I could go, $620. PSA 10 on October 20th, $1,140. So people are very excited about him, and people are already buying into his hype this early in the offseason. So maybe not a buying opportunity there, but definitely a name to keep track of because, like I said, a Juan Soto type of player there. And then lastly, Marco Luciano. I don't have any prices on him. I just wanted to bring up his name because he's a shortstop for the Giants who was an A-ball, who's absolutely amazing. And if you can get in on him, I would now before he vaults up to the, number 1, number 2, top 5 prospect in all of baseball once Wander Franco gets graduated. So those 3 guys, along with a myriad of other players in there that are really incredible and good investments, including pitchers. You watch what the Indians did with Shane Bieber this year, and, they could do that with a bunch of different pitchers in their farm system. You watch what the Rays do with Tyler Glasnow, where he came from the Pirates and became amazing, and there's no reason the Rays can't keep doing that with pitchers that they draft in their farm system. And then you watch like the Dodgers with Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin both being really good rookies this year. There are buying opportunities all over the place for pitchers. They're a little bit riskier than batters because, one bad injury and you're out for a year and you can't sell your investment. But still some money to be made, and they're cheaper to get in than a top 5 pitching prospect is cheaper to buy than a top 5 hitting prospect. So there you go. Buying prospects is number 1. Obviously, weird year. no minor leagues. Now is a good time to start buying prospects again. Obviously not a real in-depth buying strategy, but something that people have probably forgotten about with the lack of the minor league season. Number 2 is buying injury. So a lot of times an injured player is a forgotten player. You're going along in the MLB season, and so-and-so gets injured, and all of a sudden they're out of sight, out of mind. What have you done for me lately? Well, they haven't done anything for you lately, so you're not thinking of them. When you're thinking of the Astros this past year in the playoffs, you were thinking of Carlos Correa because he was amazing. You were thinking of Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, George Springer. You know who you weren't thinking of? Yordan Alvarez, because Yordan Alvarez came back for 2 games, was injured, came back for 2 games, hit a home run, got injured again, and he was out of sight, out of mind. And because of that, his prices have dropped. PSA 10s sell for $45 to $50 right now. Back in July, August, they were up to between $60 and $70 mostly. Somewhere as low as the mid-50s, somewhere as high as even one hit $80, I believe. And so Yordan Alvarez, he's dropped a little bit. 20% drop, 15% drop there, which there's money to be made if you're buying in. And if you expect him to come back healthy and to hit the cover off the ball like he did his rookie year. Don't let me go onto eBay in a couple days and all of a sudden you see Yordan Alvarez is back up to $60, $70. Don't overbuy. Buy what the market's at. So if it's $45, buy it $45 to $50. Don't push it because he's been injured and you're thinking you're getting a good deal, and all of a sudden you're buying at the price that they should be. And there's other guys that were injured this year. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking AJ Puck, pitcher for the A's. A's seem to always have problems with injured pitchers. Think Jared Parker years ago. And so, there's different guys that always get injured and are always out of sight, out of mind, and their prices drop a little bit. Not by half like the next category, but still a decent amount where you can get a good deal. Now, so look up injuries. I'm not going to say them all. I was kind of hesitant to even bring up Yordan Alvarez because it seems like one of those things that you bring him up and all of a sudden prices go up and he's no longer a good buy despite being injured. Number 3 on the list is buy underperformance. So there was a number of guys, and I did a video on this a couple weeks ago. So if you want to go back, you can watch that. There's a number of guys that were really, really, really bad this year. That are stars, full-blown superstar baseball players that were full-blown worst players in the league type of players this year. Christian Yelich is one of them. His PSA 10 Topps Update rookies are going for $175 right now. Those were in the 200s during the year. Cody Bellinger, 175 PSA 10s. Those were in the 300s at the start of the year. And so you're looking at prices that have been cut drastically for guys that really, really, really struggled. If you expect them to continue struggling next year, despite having a odd offseason this year and a bunch of other things probably running in their mind with COVID going on and the political arena and this and that, then, don't buy in. But if you do think that it was just a weird year, fluke year, and they should bounce back with the regular spring training, then buy in because you're looking at a huge, huge boost. Now, some of this might have to do with the Topps base rookie PSA 10 market exploding before the season, and so if it doesn't, if that has died down, then maybe these don't go back up. But if you think that base rookie market is going to keep going up, and you think that Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger, guys like that are going to continue to play well after they have a regular offseason, then buy in. Other guys that performed really poorly, Chris Bryant, really poorly this year, Jose Altuve, Nolan Arenado, Keston Hiura, Josh Bell, bunch of NL Central guys, really. Maybe they are all facing Shane Bieber. Plenty of terrible guys. Anthony Rizzo wasn't very good. And then Javi Baez. Javi Baez, was an MVP candidate a couple years ago, placed second behind Christian Yelich in 2018. He was the 3rd worst hitter in baseball this year by WRC+. Completely unexpected. I know he has huge strikeout problems, but the defense is still there. The base running is still there. If he can get back to hitting the ball hard and hitting the ball with authority, you're not going to be looking at a WRC+ of 57 this year like he had. third worst in the league. So Javi Baez, another guy who had just an absolutely atrocious year offensively, could be a huge bounce back and a huge moneymaker for you. So buy the underperformance. That's a big one. So many stars. Your best time to get cheap stars is right now with so many guys that perform really badly. Now, this does not guarantee by any means that some of these guys are going to bounce back. You know, Jose Altuve is 30, 31 now. No guarantee he bounces back. Nolan Arenado is like 29, 30. So maybe they're just on the wrong side of their career. Some guys just happen to have a short, really good spurt, and then they get to 30 and right down the tubes. You know, look at Miguel Cabrera. Not that he got to 30, but like 33, he looked like a guy that was going to be an all-time great up till 40. Just an amazing bat, and all of a sudden he's pretty bad. And he's 37 now, something like that. So buy the underperformance. Great time to get star players on the cheap. Fourth one is buy the young studs. Pretty self-explanatory. You can spend your money on a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. But one of the easiest ways to make money is just to buy the guys. They're not going to be the next Mike Trout, but they're going to be the next face of a generation of baseball players, a next face of a generation for young kids that grow up loving the game. You know, I grew up, and it was the Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Pudge Rodriguez, Vladimir Guerrero senior years, a bunch of good guys that, you know, mean something to me. Mike Trout means something to the next generation, and now the next generation of kids that are 6, 7 years old. Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, Ronald Acuna, they are going to be the faces of their generation. So buy in now. When those kids get older, if they're into cards, you know, you might see a boost in those prices, along with a boost along the way for them being really good players. And if you're looking for buying opportunities, Fernando Tatis, his prices are about cut in half. They're like $150, $175 for a PSA 10 Top Series 2, when those were all the way up to $300, generally around $275. So a big buying opportunity there if you think those can go back up. And then lastly, but not least, buying sealed wax, specifically 2020 Top Series 1 and even maybe 2019 Top Series 2, but that's really expensive. But if you can get your hands on 2020 Top Series 1 still, I would definitely do that. Just buy it, sit on it, retail or hobby or jumbo boxes. It doesn't matter. That product was amazing. You had Bo Bichette, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Lewis, Randy Arozarena, Gavin Lux, who's not very, hasn't been very good this year. Wasn't believed in by the Dodgers. But if he gets traded, could be a huge boon for him. I'm thinking maybe Wisconsin boy traded to the Brewers, Josh Hader. You would throw something else in with the Dodgers. The Dodgers throw something else in. They get Josh Hader. We get a third baseman of the future. Works for everyone from Wisconsin. But that's neither here nor there. So many good young players. So many guys that PSA 10s are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, up to $100 a card. And then along those lines, you also have secondary players that, if you get the right parallels, are really nice players too. I'm thinking Austin Nola, Dustin May, Jesus Luzardo, AJ Puck, Isan Diaz, even though he hasn't done much for the Marlins yet, still a big power bat that you could look up in a couple of years and say, wow, this guy has 35 home runs out of second base. And then a guy like Nico Horner, who's really nice for the Cubs this year. So some big names in top 2020 Series 1 and some nice secondary names there. So if you have the opportunity, buy some sealed wax of that, sit on it, let it mature, and you can make a decent profit off of that too. Anyways, there's 5 different ways you can go about the offseason buying. There's so many guys in baseball to choose from, and not every guy is going to make you money. And there's so many random guys that people buy every year. I get so many messages about, hey, should I buy this random guy or this random guy? And there's just, I understand a lot of the guys are cheap. And it's a decent gamble, but there's guys that just aren't going, especially on the prospect side, that just aren't going to make an impact in baseball. The tops they're going to be as a backup first baseman or a backup catcher or, a utility infielder. So just money not well spent, even if it's $3, $4, you can still go spend that wisely elsewhere. Or you can add an extra $1 and go buy a Taco Bell $5 box, which would probably be a better use of money than buying, a utility infielder that got his first moment prospect card. So anyways, a billion different ways to spend your money. but these ways should be pretty good on being able to make you some return on investment. Maybe not 100%, but 15, 20% here or there, pretty safe. So thank you all for listening to Dingy Corners today, and I will talk to you again next time.